Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Let us start the session with a nice quote. What is today's quote? All things are difficult before they are easy. A very useful quote. All things are difficult before they are easy. Initially, everything is difficult. When you work on something, when you practice a lot, same difficult thing becomes easy. So while trying to achieve something, you should always keep in mind all things are difficult before they are easy. Now let us go to the phrasal verb of the day. What is today's phrasal verb? Live up to. Last time you got look up to. Today, what is it? Live up to. Meaning, do what is expected of you. People have expectations about you, and you do accordingly. Then we say you have lived up to their expectations. This takes the word expectations. Examples. It is hard for him to live up to his parents' expectations. Second example, try to live up to the expectations of your father, or try to live up to the expectations of your teachers. These are the typical combinations. And word combinations father, mother, parents, teachers, and name also. He could not live up to the expectations of his name. This is also an important combination you have to remember. But generally, we say live up to the expectations of your parents, live up to the expectations of your teachers. Two typical examples. Let us go to editorial vocabulary. Today's editorial is all about criminal laws, getting new names, whether can be justified, cannot be justified. And based on that, you come across a lot of words that go with the legal context. What is the first one? Reboot. Part of speech noun, it can also be a verb. I'm sure you all know the word reboot. It goes with computers, but in this context, a different meaning altogether. To start something again or do something again in a way that is new and interesting. You start something afresh. You have to learn another expression start afresh, start again, start something again in a way that is new and interesting. Reboot. Overhaul, another important word, part of speech verb. To completely change a system, this term goes with system. To completely change the system so that it works more effectively. It goes with the policy, the system, the procedure, rules and regulations, but generally with the word system. Complete transformation so that it works more effectively. Keep abreast of something. This is an important idiom I use regularly. While preparing for competitive exams, you have to keep abreast of the latest happenings, keep abreast of the current topics, keep abreast of the burning topics. What does it mean? To make sure you know all the most recent facts about a subject or situation. A typical combination, keep abreast of the latest developments, means you should know the latest developments. Abstruse, an important word, not a regular word. Do remember many of these words may look familiar, may sound familiar, easy to handle. But a few words new, difficult, then you have to spend some time, otherwise you forget. That is very important. Abstruse, not known or understood by many people. If you take a particular subject, it is easy to understand, but some subjects, a subject like philosophy, everyone cannot understand. And this goes with intellectual caliber, not known or understood by many people. Abstruse, an important word. Retain, a simple word we have got many a time, part of speech verb. To keep or continue to have something, retain something. Retain the old rules means keep the old rules. Distinct, clearly noticeable, that certainly exists. And distinct, usually it goes with something is distinct, means clearly noticeable. Sometimes what happens in a crowd, a person, you can easily spot a person, distinct. But there we use the expression like stand out. He stands out in a crowd, means what? Abstruse, you can use words like ambiguous, vague, mysterious. So many words are there. Here, distinct, remember the phrasal verb stand out. Stand out means people can notice you. Apparently, adverb, apparent adjective. According to what seems to be true or what is likely based on what you know. But a simple word, I use the word obviously. Something is apparent, something is obvious. Means what? It goes without saying. Warrant has two different meanings. One meaning, I'm sure, as a noun, you all know, arrest warrant. But here, different meaning altogether, and part of speech also, it's a verb. To make a particular activity necessary. It does not warrant a new policy. Means what? It does not demand or it doesn't require a new policy. To make a particular activity necessary. An important word. It is not warranted. Sometimes what happens, imagine in a public place, a mall, a small issue, someone becomes aggressive, picks up a fight and becomes aggressive. Then we say it is not warranted. Unwarranted fight, unwarranted aggressiveness means not required, not necessary. I hope you guys got the meaning. Scrutinize, a simple word we have got many a time. And what is the noun form? Scrutiny. Examine something very carefully in order to discover information. We got this word last week, sedition. Now it is in the limelight. Part of speech, noun. Language or behavior that is intended to persuade other people to oppose a government. You can also think of words like incite, provoke, instigate. They all go with the term sedition. Instigate people against the government, incite or provoke people against the government, act of sedition. Contempt, it goes with quote, contempt of law. A strong feeling of disliking and having no respect for someone or something. When you're supposed to appear in the court, you don't go to the court. Then we say contempt of law, not respecting. But contempt has other meanings. One meaning, to look down upon, a phrasal verb, to consider others inferior. Contempt, despise, another word you have to recollect here, despise, to look down upon. Penalize, a simple word, it means what? To punish someone for breaking a rule. Penalize. Here, I don't know why they have used ISM. Without ISM, also it is right. Cessation. Cessation is a noun form, but here they have used in the editorial cessationism. Both mean the same. The act of becoming independent and no longer part of a country, area, or organization. You get separated from a particular organization or a particular country, then we use the term cessation, cessationism, noun form. Sovereignty, an important word, the power of a country to control its own government. India is a sovereign country. Politically, we are independent. No one controls us. We have the power to control the government. Remand goes with the arrest, police, to send someone accused of committing a crime away from court until their trial begins. The police will take into custody, someone. Then we say he has been sent to remand. Remand is a you come across quite often. These are the words. Now let us go to the uh, tone of the passage. Tone of the passage is critical and skeptical. As I said, this editorial is all about. It's all about using new names for existing criminal laws, but the content is the same. So the editorial opines when 90% it is the same information, there is no need to give new names that to Hindi names. The editorial does not approve that. Based on that, critical and also skeptical. What is the meaning of the word skeptical? Doubt, to doubt someone or something. The author is particularly critical of the use of Hindi names for these new codes, arguing that there is no real need for such a change when official translations in various languages already exist. Every language we have the official translation, so what is the need to give new Hindi names? The writer also questions the necessity of enacting these new laws from scratch. Why should we start from beginning, given that many aspects of the original laws are retained with only a few changes? Only a few changes, then we don't have to start afresh, not required. The author highlights some welcome changes. Everything is not negative. The second part of the editorial talks about the positive aspects of this particular issue. Highlight some welcome changes such as the deletion of the term sedition and the introduction of provisions related to mob lynching and organized crime. However, the author also points out potential issues with vague language, means not clear language, and provisions that could be misused. Some provisions could be misused. There's a possibility. It touches those aspects as well. We'll go to the editorial. Rebooting the codes, restructuring, renaming, starting afresh, and what related to what? On the IPC, Criminal Procedure Code, and Evidence Act, three things. But what is the main idea? Criminal laws may need reform, but not new and unfamiliar names. Law has to be dynamic because of the changing times, technology, and a new lifestyle, new society, new patterns in the society. Criminal laws may need reform. Reform is always required, but not new and unfamiliar names. Reform should be in the form of the rule, the law, but not in the form of new names and unfamiliar names. This is the main idea of the editorial. And here, whatever I say, do remember objective analysis based on the editorial. Nothing personal, you also don't take a personal stand. Few would disagree. Few, a few, the few. Immediately you have to. Few means what? Almost nothing, hardly anything. It has a negative connotation. And here, few would disagree means no one would disagree. No one would disagree. Few would disagree that laws require an overhaul from time to time, an important phrase. Laws, they have to be changed. Imagine 1700 laws, different. 1900 laws, different. And 2023 laws, different. When you go to 2030, some laws have to be changed. They should be open and they should be changed based on the changing patterns in the society. They require an overhaul from time to time, an important phrase, so that they could be abreast of developments in technology and changes in society. Laws have to be changed. Why? Because they have to keep abreast of developments in two fields. One is technology, and the other is changes in society. If they don't change, if they don't keep abreast of developments, then the law becomes redundant. It will not serve the purpose. However, it does not mean that whole new codes be introduced and given abstruse names when in substance the old laws are essentially retained. Contrasting information. Law has to be changed from time to time because of two reasons. What are the two reasons? Abreast, they could be abreast of developments in technology and changes in society. But, however, it doesn't mean that whole new codes be introduced and given abstruse names, vague names, when in substance, in essential, the old laws are essentially retained. Same laws are retained. What is the need to give new names? That's what the sentence says. Now, to elaborate the same idea, the first criticism about the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita (BNS) to replace the Indian Penal Code. Standard, everyone knows, popular, familiar, IPC, Indian Penal Code. What is the new name for that? BNS. What do the letters stand for? Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. The Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, BNSS, a new term, to replace the Code of Criminal Procedure, and the Bharatiya Sakshya Bill. Sakshya means evidence. Bharatiya Sakshya Bill to replace the Indian Evidence Act. Three acts and new names. Is that the first criticism? Criticism about what? Giving new names is that it is unnecessary to refer to them wholly in their Hindi names. This is a stand taken by the editorial. The editorial opines there is no need unnecessary to refer to them wholly in their Hindi names. What is the reason? Every law in India has an official translation in the respective official language of every state. Today we have so many states. Every state has a particular language. In every state official language, there is a translation, official translation of all these. Then what is the need to give new Hindi names. That is what the editorial says. So the need for the IPC, CRPC, and Evidence Act to be referred to in their Hindi names alone is questionable. So this is questionable. Something is questionable. Why do we say that? When you do something, if it cannot be justified, then we say what you have done is questionable, means cannot be justified. The criminal procedure law was reenacted in 1973 and it is known as the Criminal Procedure Code 1973 as distinct from 1898 version. Changes 1973, 1898, a lot of changes. The objective to have Hindi names is apparently an attempt to symbolize the de-anglicization of criminal law. So why the government has decided to give the new Hindi names? What could be the objective behind? The objective to have Hindi names is apparently, means obviously, an attempt to symbolize something. Symbolize what? The de-anglicization of criminal law. Today, if you look at the names of cities and states, a lot of changes you come across. Earlier, we would say Bombay. Now we say Mumbai. Earlier, we would say Bangalore. Now we say Bengaluru. These are English versions, Bombay, Bangalore. But here, de-anglicization means what? They try to change those English names and bring in the local flavor, the original name, Mumbai, Bengaluru. And here, Hindi names is apparently an attempt to symbolize the de-anglicization of criminal law. When they give the Hindi names, Indian Penal Code, that is English, and the new one, it is Hindi. In a way, they are trying to de-anglicize. However, contrasting information. A preliminary scroll through when you go through the new laws indicates that much of the original language is retained. The same language retained, no change. Then what is the need to change the names? It raises a doubt. Raise always you should become alert. Two confusing verbs. One rise, the other raise. Rise is an intransitive verb, irregular verb. A raise is a transitive verb and a regular verb that you should always have at your fingertips. It raises what? A doubt whether the changes are far too few to warrant the being enacted afresh. Far too few, not too many. Then what is the need to warrant to, is it necessary to enact afresh, to start again afresh? As deletions and amendments may have achieved the same purpose. Instead of giving new names and enacting afresh, they should have gone for deletions and amendments, and the same purpose would have been achieved. It is some consolation. Now, something positive. I'm sure you all know consolation prize. It is some consolation, means some comfort that the Sanhitas are to be scrutinized by a parliamentary standing committee as the consultation process appears inadequate. Again, when you come across the word committee, you should become alert. Answer my question, which part of speech is it? It is a collective noun. What are the important examples, exam point of view? Committee, jury, team, staff, all these words you have to recollect. And there are two rules. Collective nouns usually take a singular verb, a singular pronoun. But if the sentence talks about division, then they take a plural verb and a plural pronoun. This is an important rule you have to recollect. In substance, in essence, the deletion of sedition is welcome. The first part is over, second part talks about positive aspects. The deletion, deleting means removing, deletion of sedition is welcome. And its apparent equivalent, obvious equivalent, the new section 150 does not does not use overbroad terms, not too general, not acceptable, such as promoting disaffection against the government or bringing it into hatred or contempt. So this particular thing related to sedition, the editorial says it's a welcome thing, means something positive, because they have not used overbroad terms related to sedition. It criminalizes promoting Cessationism, ISM not required. Cessation means to become independent from a country or a group. Separatism and armed rebellion, but it also targets subversive activities. Subversive means to make the government weak. Strong government, you try to make it weak, subversive activities. And endangering the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. Endanger means threaten. There's an important word you have to recollect. What is it? Jeopardize. Jeopardy, jeopardize. Same meaning. Endanger, threaten, jeopardize, they all mean the same. The sovereignty, political independent country, unity and integrity of India. Terms that should not be allowed to be misused. These terms should not be allowed to be misused. Another potentially misusable provision is these two sentences talk about the possibility for misusing certain terms. First one, possibility related to misuse of the terms like sovereignty, unity, and integrity. The second dimension, another potentially misusable provision is in the new section 195, equivalent to section 153B IPC. It penalizes, penalize means punish, making or publishing false or misleading information, jeopardizing the sovereignty, unity, and integrity or security of India. What does it mean? Imagine you publish a book or a booklet and using false or misleading information that endangers or threatens or jeopardizes the sovereignty, unity, and integrity or security of India, then you will be punished. You will be penalized, you will be punished. So that is not allowed. While mob lynching, we got this last week. Lynch means what? A group of people kill a person under the suspicion that excuse me, under the suspicion that he has committed a crime. Usually, this goes with villagers and witchcraft and also cow vigilantism. These are the combinations. While mob lynching and organized crime are new sections, a significant omission, important omission is hate speech. Even though defining it and punishing it have been under discussion for some years, they have omitted hate speech. Now, again, the hate speech has been in the limelight, even though defining it and punishing it have been under discussion for some years. How does the editorial end? The procedure code enables conduct of trial of proclaimed offenders in absentia. In absentia is an important expression, but usually this goes with convocation. If you go to a university, you do your post graduation. After your course, they organize one event that is known as convocation. In that event, they give the certificates. But sometimes what happens, you are not well, some important work, you may not be able to attend the convocation. Then you have to request the university to give the certificate in absentia, means in your absence. In absentia, uh, there could be a trial of proclaimed offenders. Whether they are present, not present, it doesn't matter. There could be a trial. The code enables conduct of trial of proclaimed offenders in absentia. Making videography of seizures mandatory is welcome. Another positive dimension, something is mandatory, compulsory. What is mandatory? Videos, once they seize videos, and these videos have to be produced, and that is mandatory. So, too, one more thing is positive, the provision for deemed sanction if authorities fail to grant it within 120 days. They have to grant it within 120 days, otherwise, it will be a problem. However, the remand provisions, provisions related to remand, seem to permit police custody beyond the current 15-day limit. What is the current limit to keep in remand? 15 days. But here, custody seem to permit police custody beyond the current 15-day limit, attracting some criticism that is likely to be criticized. The new laws need critical scrutiny, but not new names. In essence, the gist of the editorial, one sentence, what is it? The new laws need critical scrutiny, but not new names. New names, same information does not cannot be justified. Let us have a look at possible questions based on this editorial. Why does the author criticize the introduction of new codes to replace existing criminal laws? What is the author's opinion about using Hindi names for the new codes? What changes in the criminal laws does the author find welcome? Something negative, something positive. What potential issues does the author identify with the new section 150 and section 195 in the proposed laws? What provisions related to criminal trials and evidence handling does the author appreciate in the new laws? Easy to answer, but you have to think and you have to write in your own sentences. That is important. Now let us go to error location. Here, I haven't divided the sentence. Read the complete sentence and tell me where the error is. The Punjab and Haryana High Court has done good to stop authorities from continuing with their demolition drive in Gurugram and New. This is an important question. There are two dimensions. First, you try to spot the error. Then I will talk about the two dimensions. Deemed, considered, both mean the same. Endanger, threaten, species, genus, flora, fauna, all the combination. Anusha says there's one error here. Has done. Has done how? We cannot say good, we have to say well. We cannot use an adjective, we have to use an adverb. But all of you listen very carefully. The Punjab and Haryana High Court. Are we talking about two courts or one court? Please answer this question. The Punjab and Haryana High Court. Are we talking about two courts or one court? He is the chairman and MD of the company. Are we talking about two persons or one person? We are talking about one person. We are talking about one quote. What is the reason? When two nouns, please listen very carefully. When two nouns or two adjectives refer to the same person, before the second noun or before the second adjective, we should not use the article. Here, the Punjab and Haryana High Court, we are talking about only one. Here, the chairman, I'm sorry, the chairman and MD. Here, there is no article before the second noun. That means I'm talking about only one person. If I say the chairman and the MD have come, I have to use a plural verb. What is the reason? The chairman, the MD. I'm talking about two persons. So this is what you have to recollect as a smart learner. For legal purposes, officials will say the buildings are encroachments and are being removed as per law. Where is the error? For legal purposes, officials will say the buildings are encroachments and are being removed as per law. Huh. The accountant and cashier absent today. He is absent. That's right. Please try to spot. Yes. For legal purposes, officials will say the buildings are encroachments and are. Here it is in passive voice, not in a perfect tense, but a continuous tense. Which continuous tense? Present continuous passive voice. Any continuous tense in passive voice, we should use the word being compulsory. And being goes with perfect tenses in passive voice. Based on that, are being removed. They are removing something. Something is being removed. And this is in present continuous tense, passive voice. That you have to know for sure. When did you do these questions? Oh, last week. Are you sure? Others, please respond. How come? Have you done the third one also? If you say yes, there is one example of a house that provided refugee. Okay, okay, fine. My mistake. This is a new para jumble. No, no, let us not waste time. Perhaps I did not, I overlooked. Forget those questions. This is a new one, para jumble. And this I have brought from an international magazine, The Economist magazine. So try to work on this. Now, let us not spend time on why should we spend, already we have worked. Try to get the para jumble, an important para jumble, an important one, and likely to get from The Economist magazine. Thanks for bringing it to my notice. Tight schedule, obviously, we some here and there. Usually it doesn't happen. Last week something like this happened. This week also, the very first day. I will be a little careful. Don't worry about that. Please try to get the correct order. This is from The Economist magazine. What is the first one? No, no, no. How come? That is no, 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 no. If you don't get the first one, you're off the track. Let us take elimination approach. Not so long ago, analysts were openly wondering whether artificial intelligence AI would be the death of Adobe. Hold this one. Seemed no subject cannot be the first one. A maker of software, again, something is a maker of software for creative types. No subject cannot be the first one. Far from it, pronoun cannot be the first one. As recently as April, Seeking Alpha, a financial news site, published an article headlined, Is AI the Adobe Killer? Now tell me, will you consider not so long ago first or recently first? Which one is the first one? Past to present. What is past here? Not so long ago. Then, second, you have to talk about recently. Based on that, here, one, that is the first one I should have used. I will change A, B, C, D, E. What is the first one here? A is the first one. Exactly. Not so long ago, analysts were openly wondering whether artificial intelligence AI would be the death of Adobe. What is this Adobe? A maker of software for creative types. Here it is incomplete. How do you complete? A maker of software for creative types. C is the second one. New tools like DAL-E 2 and Mid-Journey, which conjure up pictures from text. Use ABCD now. Seemed set to render Adobe's image editing offerings redundant. Based on that, here we have to use AC, then we have B. Far from it, Adobe has used its database of hundreds of millions of stock photos to build its own suite of AI tools dubbed Firefly. That is and what is the last one? As recently as April, Seeking Alpha, a financial news site, published an article headlined, Is AI the Adobe Killer? No, it is not. Answer, E is the last one. A, C, B, D, E. That is the correct order. Imagine you start with E. What will happen? Many students started with E. The entire thing goes off the track. and all the 5 marks gone. So para jumbles, you got to be careful. Please remember that. I have brought 5 idioms, important idioms, exam point of view. Try to get all the 5 correct. To be in a quandary, all these have given many a time. Banks, both banks and SSC, they are really important. So try to get all the 5, then good, you're good at idioms. To be in a quandary means what? No response. How come? To be in a difficult situation. That's right. Here I'll use to be in a difficult situation. Queer fish. It goes with persons. He is a queer fish. She is a queer fish. Means what? Eccentric person. Eccentric person. Quixotic idea, an important word. Quixotic idea means what? A foolish idea. A foolish idea. A rainy days, time of financial shortage. Time of financial shortage or time of hardships, financial difficulties. A rainy days. A rank and file of the party. Usually it goes with the party. What are you left with? Common people. Has anyone got all the 5 correct? Please answer. All the 5 correct, you should be happy. No one has responded. Common or ordinary people. That's right. Naidu says all 5. Suresh also says all 5 correct. Wonderful. Anusha says all 5. Be happy. These are not easy. If you say all the 5, Naveen also, very good. Highly appreciable. Maheshwari, good. That's all for today. Error location, surprising. How come? We did last week. I don't remember. Anyhow, I hope you guys have got enriched. And tomorrow I will get new questions and new exam topics. I haven't brought fillers. Tomorrow I'll bring fillers. Fillers also an important exam topic. Error location. And I'll try to get new exam topics. Rainy days savings. That's right. Thank you very much for being with me till the fag end of the session. But today only 38 minutes. Thank you. Before I wind up, please, thank you. Please remember to subscribe and